Hello everybody, this is my first video in astrophysics. Um, then I have to follow a text so as not to forget important details, okay? So for those who find my video without going to my website, let me introduce myself. My name as a self-taught and multidisciplinary scientist is Gilles Lauzon Urtubise, and I am the owner of the first human multi-intelligence.com site. Well, as you can see, English it is not my mother language because it is French, so I will try to speak the best English I can, okay? Sorry for this. Then, like I told you, then yes, I have to tell you then the complete title of my video because I cannot put on the first line. So this is an exceptional device capable of producing a new basic technology of a first generation for an extraordinary new type of spaceship. My story as a scientist began in early February 2014 and until today, and from zero knowledge in astrophysics and particle physics. So in 5 years and 8 months, I managed to invent 3 very important theories in particle physics, 1 new chemical composition of the universe, which I'm not agree with those they actually exist, 2 new very important theories in biology, important knowledge in psychiatry, and psychology of human behavior, and somewhere between 50 and 100 or more new theories in astrophysics, which serve to form my imposing mother theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale. And from the moment when all my astrophysical theories are published on my website and in my scientific journal in my name. By that time was all of these things was published. The consequence of these will be to prove that I am the first to have succeeded in decoding how the universe works on a macroscopic scale. But only from the moment when I will have the financial means to file my paper patent of 300 or 350 pages in all countries of the world. Otherwise, the reason why I decide to name my website firsthumanmulti-intelligence.com. This is because in French it means première multi-intelligence humaine. And this is because it's for having been the first to succeed in decoding of the functioning of the universe on a macroscopic scale. Otherwise, and regarding my exceptional device capable of producing my new basic technology of the first generation for my extraordinary new type of spaceship, I invented 1 year and 6 months after starting my self-taught studies in astrophysics in early February 2014. So this is mean 1 year and 6 months later. It's around August 2015. And I remember then the day I invent my new basic technology of the first generation. It was when I woke up one morning with 7 new ideas, and before I got out of the bed, I asked Anand to transcribe them on a paper which is intended to collect my new ideas, and as quickly as possible for 4 reasons. Because all the time I sleep with problems to resolve, and so my subconscious work on this. So, and all the time I have paper and pen beside of my bed. So when it's happened, then some morning I woke up with new ideas. I used to transcribe those fast as possible on a paper. So I explained to you why it's why it's for important 4 reasons I'm doing this. So first, so as not to forget anything, so which is so important. Second, so as not to block my brain, because as long as I don't write them down on a paper, I try to hold them back until they are all written down on a paper. And third, because by the time I am concentrating on keeping my new ideas in mind, my brain may not be able to produce other new ideas. And 4, sometimes I find myself inventing other additional new ideas right after writing down my new ideas from waking up. And after this, after I write down all of my new ideas of the morning, I go back to the work the day before. So I go back to my files from the day before because they are still fresh in memory, and to convey all my new ideas on this file and until a satisfactory production. Yeah, so because I have all of my mind the work I did before, the day before, so I want to complete it much as I can, and with enough satisfaction to after start to think on other things and invent other new ideas. So after and the next day, when I read my new ideas from the morning before, I realize that one of my 7 ideas is an ideas for my new basic technology of the first generation that never needed modification afterwards. So this idea never changed it because it's good enough. So and the other that never changed. So and another idea which is for the formation of my exceptional device. But this one, which subsequently required a large amount of modification, which is somewhere between 20 and 30 modification or more. So, yes, my exceptional device was pretty complex. So, by the first idea, the first original ideas I had, I needs to make a lot of modification to be satisfied. And a long time to work on. So, and this has the consequences of proving that my subconscious is capable of working and inventing new ideas while I sleep, with which those new ideas are very important. Well, because thanks to these 2 original ideas, I subsequently realized that they become my 2 best ideas, which allow me to build an extraordinary spaceship. And they come from my subconscious soul. And I produce those in my sleep, so that's pretty amazing. So which is and this extraordinary spaceship, which is capable of transporting a crew of 6 or more astronauts between Earth and Mars, between Earth and Ceres, which is much further than Mars, between Earth and one of the main belt most interesting asteroid to visit, and perhaps between the Earth and one of the Jupiter's moon or satellite. But for those, I'm not sure. So, of course, I need to start with the first trip, which is between the Earth and Mars. And we'll see after what I can modify to keep going further. Then after after visit all of those places, then after visit the and these extraordinary spaceship gave the opportunity to many astronauts to visit their surface for 3 or 6 days or more, and then after they catch a lot example of all kind of their surface. They are bring back to the Earth safely. So then otherwise, with regard of my 50 or 100 or more new astrophysics theories, of my imposing modern theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, many of them are so complex to invent that no one before me, no one from the university, no one from the research center, no one from the space agency, and even no one from the whole world has had the chance to invent them, and even less to discover them by chance. Why? Because they don't exist in the universe, and because it is downright impossible to discover them through research of all kinds in astrophysics. So it is impossible for hardworking, persevering, and very research-skilled researcher to be able to accidentally uncover mysteries which are indecipherable and which cannot be unrevealed. And a part of my intellectual investigation of a high level that is considerably high, that only I can perform, and which are based on an immense amount of physical experience and an observation of nature, that I began to study by observation and reflection from a young age of 5 or 6 years old until now. So considering the fact that all phenomena that occur in nature are real things and have nothing in common with fiction things, then these considerably high intellectual investigation can be, and these of my considerably high intellectual investigation are so strong that they can be compared to the extremely well done scenario of 2 fictional characters that do not exist, but which are very interesting for me, and that is Columbo with Peter Falk and Sherlock Holmes with Jeremy Brett. Why them? Because they're the best one in investigation, they're the best scenario, because all the other, because they succeed in, because those guys are so interesting, then they succeed to inspire me enormously, and in passing on to me a lot of secret ways of doing things, and a lot of other things that takes too long to list. Sorry guys, and I cannot list until I publish all of my mother theory, my imposing mother theory on my website after I following my pattern in our country. So then sorry for it, but that's the way it is. That's the way I should go. But with regard to all the other Sherlock Holmes characters are all made with poorly written storyline and symptomatic of accommodating magical thoughts. Then I don't like at all. I can support poor anything was not genius. All the stuff, it's stupid stuff. It's accommodate magic thought. I hate it. I cannot support it. Because it's so much stupid, and sorry, I cannot support that deeply stupidity. So that's the way I am. Then, and because that they don't have any kind of intellectual interest in me. That's the way it is. As an example, I produce a set of theories of 25, 30 or 35 theories or more of a group A. I call these group A's. It could be B, C, D, whatever, but it's a group A to make that easy to repair what I'm talking about. So then, which is the most important of my imposing theory of the universe works on a macroscopic scale, and who is the one who explained the reason for the origin of the moon. So the group A, they have many theories that could explain properly the origin of the moon and its original orbit and its remoteness of about 3 and 5.8 centimeters a year. Because the moons every year they're getting away from our Earth, but so little, it's about somewhere like this, then so far away every year, so it's a little distance, but every year it's going away from that little distance from the Earth. And this group A is applicable to a considerable amount of objects in the universe which are similar to the moon. So they have so that group A could explain for many other objects of the universe a huge amount of objects. Then they have the same behavior than our moon. So, and this set of theories of the group A have required a considerable amount of new ideas, design, and or invention varying between 80 and 20 or more. And for a period of time that was the longest of all of my study in astrophysics, and it's about 3 or 4 years. Why? Because from the production of a first group A of new ideas, design, and or invention that I find satisfactory at the time for my set of theories of my group A. So yes, because the first time I produced the first group, it was until I was satisfied about my production. So I can accept that because it's still satisfied enough at that time, but doesn't mean that it's perfect. So that's what it. So I produced the first group, and after this I was enough satisfied. I pursuing my further work on investigation, reflection, and invention on a second mystery to be solved of the functioning of the universe on a macroscopic scale. And until I managed to produce a sufficient amount of new ideas, design, and or invention to attempt to solve it or solve it entirely. And so on, and after this, and so on for each of the mystery of the universe which follow and which remain to be decoded. During this time, and each time some of new ideas, design, and or invention are found to satisfactorily solve a new mystery of the functioning of the universe on a macroscopic scale. So yes, so every time I'm working until I'm getting enough satisfied, and after that, after this, every time, each time I find myself rethinking about my set of theories of the group A to check if they are still satisfactory. And when it does, I continue to investigate, reflect, and invent on a third mystery to be solved of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale. And until I manage to produce a sufficient amount of new ideas, design, and or invention to attempt to solve it or solve it entirely. After I think again about every time I produce some group of new ideas for another mystery, when I always come back to my first group. And to me, and one times I has the consequences for me of perceiving my set of new theories and every time as the consequences for me of perceiving my set of theories of the group A from a new angle, and to make me realize that my first group A of new ideas, design, and or invention are no longer satisfactory for my set of theories of the group A, and to force myself to invent a second group A of new ideas, design, modification, and or invention until they become more satisfactory to my set of theories of the group A. So that these works of my investigation, reflection, and production of new ideas, design, and modification, and or invention, they continue one after another until my set of theory of the group A become between 99.99% and 100% satisfactory. Then, as for now, all of my 50 or 100 theory or more new theories, which fit into my imposing modern theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, they satisfied me on average between 96% and 98.5%. And the fact that I am a multidisciplinary scientist who is extremely passionate, and I will never otherwise I will never be fully satisfied until I achieve 100% satisfaction with all of my theories that going into my imposing modern theory of the universe work on a macroscopic scale. So, moreover, by now there is no mystery through my self-taught study in astrophysics that I've been able to withstand my intellectual might thus far, because I have always managed to resolve them or to provide one or more satisfactory explanation. And I sincerely doubt that there can be a mystery in the universe that I cannot solve, or at least provide one or more satisfactory explanation in an attempt to solve it entirely until now, or until the best explanation. So beside and outside of me, the only means or chance for all scientists and researchers around the world who are trying to decode the functioning of the universe on the macroscopic scale is to produce the following elements, important elements. The first one, the production of many computers, of a computer's program that is capable of producing artificial intelligence of a level that is extremely high. Secondly, the production of powerful computers which are capable to the extremely powerful computer programs of producing artificial intelligence of an extremely high level, so that it can generate a considerable amount of new ideas of all kinds, but regardless of whether most of them are bad or wacky. But most importantly, among a considerable amount of new ideas, whether there is at least one of them, like one of them on 1,000 or 10,000 or more ideas, which is important. And third, form groups, many groups of scientists who brings together the best mind on the planet, then from several working groups of 5 or 10 scientists from several fields, so that they can review all the new ideas that are produced by the powerful computers. So after all the less realistic ideas I discarded and identified as being very unlikely or totally delusional and impossible. And in the same time, all those which represent a certain percentage of realism, they are classified among the probable ideas. And the one with the highest percentage of realism, they are ranked in the section of all ideas worth experimenting with first, and then after experimented in second, all the new ideas which represented a percentage of realism which is lower than the best ideas but still possible, and just in case any of them have been rated lower than their actual potential. And until that leads them to produce just one of my extremely complex theory at a time, and then until they manage to produce an imposing mother theory of the way of the universe works like mine. And the technical means to succeed in developing such a high level of artificial intelligence is not until 20, 30, 40, or maybe 50 years or more, okay? Then, anyway, no one knows by now. So thanks for watching my video, and see you next video. Goodbye.